Good evening and welcome to Undaunted Weekly Briefings. I am Star Smart. Let's begin.
This week on ABC Amba TV was one of its kind. Revelations were made, facts were high, signals of successes were visible, clarifications were ascertained. This week's feedback shows that it was very educational. From analysis of exclusive discussion with Mr. Tarh, where he had barrister Fru John Nsoh, barrister Tim Mbeseha et al. As guests, down to State of Liberation Movement with Secretary Martin Mungwa PhD. It was indeed a special week.
Do not forget that Undaunted Weekly Recap majors on highlights from the week, just in case you missed out. We are right here with the recap proper, but we'll get it to you just after the break.
Now, welcome back. This week on Undaunted, we started with global economic trends. We told you that global economic trend is exacerbated by weather, violence, COVID-19, and Russian invasion of Ukraine, and they are threatening food security in Africa. Food shortages lead to not only famine and starvation, but directly correlates to other challenges such as conflict and violence, democratic backsliding, and human rights access and obstacles to sustainable development. But this can be tactically taken care of in Amazonia because the soil of southern Cameroon's Amazonia produces all types of crops from plants, stable, and fruits.
Now, the fertile segregate on what must be cultivated. Different crops do well in different zones in Amazonia, southern Cameroon. With facts generated, the Republic of Amazonia is the breadbasket of neighboring La République du Cameroon and countries of the Central African sub-region. The northern zones and southern zones of southern Cameroon are rich in the production of a variety of crops, fruits, and vegetables.
On Monday, the 14th of November, we told you that Elangwe Joseph has questioned clear and loud why, after 61 years of La Republic's intrigues, manipulations, divide and rule, and unfulfilled promises, which can be glaringly seen, some Amazonians, whom he rightly describes as Anglophiles, continues to believe that what could not be done in over 60 years can be done now, when La Republic du Cameroon is very broke because of the devastating effects of the senseless war.
Now, another interesting topic we brought to you this week is the colonial La République du Cameroon ruler, Paul Biya, has, under the guise of his party, come the ruling party, the Cameroon's People Democratic Movement, CPDM, mobilized a handful of supporters to himself with taxpayers' money. He has managed to keep them loyal to him, and this group of dishonest individuals, for their belly's sake, will defend Paul Biya on every platform they are opportune to, even with their lives. Of course, they don't have many lives, for they have long offered their lives to Paul Biya for top positions in government, for fame and fast cash. While these top party comrades of Biya feed fat from the state coffers, grassroots supporters of CPDM are left to feed on crumbs and fallacious promises.
Now, in a video produced and made public on Sunday, November 13th, the commander of the Amazonia Restoration Forces, Christian Bui warriors Major General Tokandu, saluted the bravery of his forces and enjoined them to remain steadfast in their mission to liberate homeland and stand strong with the IG and President Sako. He used the occasion to call on other ARFs to fortify their local government areas and counties and increase firepowers on the ground.
Now, Bamenda Regional Hospital Director sounded an alarm over rising cases of killed, injured by gunshots. He revealed that at least 72 corpses, 135 injured received at hospital in 9 months. And by the report at the time, the Yaoundé regime songbird continues mountain rooftops to sing about speedy return to normalcy within the conflict-hit southern Cameroon's Amazonia. Statistics from the medics rather present a more disturbing situation on the ground. Fresh statistics provided by healthcare providers rather paint a situation of more citizens being rushed to the hospital with gunshot wounds and a disturbing number of corpses deposited at the mortuary because of gunshots.
Monday debate on ABC Amba TV was one of its kind. Revelations were made, facts were high, signed, clarifications. Feedback has it that the program was quite educational. Barrister Fru John Nsoh expressly wouldn't understand, while a very intelligent man like Professor Kausin Ayangwe will exhibit so much jealousy in his words and actions towards the president, Dr. Samuel Sako, a man who has sacrificed his life for the freedom of his people. To whom much is given, much is expected. This alone explains why, out of dismay, Barrister Nsoh expects that Professor Ayangwe, a great scholar, a great lawyer, should do better. He said, in spite of his rich academic profile, Kausen Ayangwe has never been a good leader and that he doesn't understand what the revolution is all about. Barrister Fru lamented said that Professor Ayangwe has thrown his back on Amazonia.
Now, we talked about Neratin. What happened to the Neratin? There were unanswered questions that Undaunted managed to tackle this week. And having a flashback, according to reports, Neratin, these are highly educated gentlemen with careers in significant niche areas. Most of them are university professors with distinguished academic credentials in disciplines such as veterinary surgery, structural engineering, architecture, and ICT, and they have a track record of significant contributions in knowledge generation and in community engagement. We have seen the feats of Amazonian restoration forces since the lava storm 3 began, and we've also brought to you this week's series of videos of the Amazonian restoration forces using their improvised explosive devices on the enemy in live recorded battles and gunshot exchange between both parties and security status updates. Well, it is a war, and so we have also seen a couple of deaths of our Amazonian restoration forces. Well, this revelation has indeed attracted more sympathizers than it did 5 years ago. Although we learned this week from the table of the panelists that the ADF and under Choayaba has killed more armed restoration forces than the colonial forces have killed.
At the morning hours of Thursday, November 17th, the students of GBHS Bamenda became uncontrollable, causing the school day to end abruptly. The incident that provoked the pandemonium as gathered by Undaunted, a student had a scuffle with one of the military men stationed on the school campus in the name of ensuring security. The said Form 4 students resisted not to follow the colonial officer into their disciplinary room, punched the military officer. The colleagues of this colonial officer then bundled the student into their disciplinary room to probably flog him, as it is always the normal. Now, due to this circumstance, we got the Secretary of State for Education and Strategic Collaboration, Professor Beatrice Epote. She has something to say.
With great dismay that we learn of yet another attack by La République military on the education of Amazonian children. This time, La République military caused GTHS Bamenda to close unexpectedly after they had a brutal confrontation with the students. As the Department of Education and Strategic Collaboration, we wish to express our sincere sympathy to all the students of GTHS Bamenda for the chaos caused by this unfortunate incident. We wish to use this opportunity to reiterate the fact that Amazonian children are not safe in schools at the moment. This is the IG stance as far as going to school is concerned. Our children are not safe, the environment is not safe for them, and we call on parents to please consider the safety of their children as a priority. We are equally expressing our sympathy to the school administration and the teachers, and also call on them to please note that the situation in which we are is not conducive for education until such a time when measures will be put in place for safe education for our children. We will plead with both the school administrators and the parents to look into this issue and put the safety of the children and the teachers first. We are at this moment calling on UNESCO and UNICEF to intervene in what is happening in Ambazonia and make sure that Ambazonian children go to school in a safe environment. We want to reiterate the fact that what is happening in Ambazonia is a violation of both the UN Human Rights 26 and the Children's Right, UN Declaration on Children's Right, number 28. Every child has the right to formal education. And the fact that Ambazonian children are not able to go to school in a safe environment means that they are being denied this right. And we are therefore calling on the UN to intervene through UNESCO and UNICEF so that Ambazonian children can enjoy the privilege that other children are enjoying.
Now, moving on with the recap for this week, Honorable Ekole Peters was speaking on the opening day of the November session of Colonial La République du Cameroon National Assembly that was on November 11th, 2022. And such public utterances from a member of parliament for Kumba local government area that was said that day, some utterances, Meme County, one of the hottest spots of the war ravaging the entire Amazonia, shocked his people when he said there is no war in the southwest region. Quote, I am going to fight for peace vigorously in 2023. With all my might, I am a resident of Kumba and I have never been attacked by any person. People should not come here and say that there is war in the southwest. There is no war in the southwest.
All right, we also gave you this report that a Colonial La République du Cameroon military man that at press time on Donner was unable to get the name has shot a road user for refusing to be part of his corrupt scheme. The unfortunate road user, who is still to come to terms with the fact that corruption is legal in La République du Cameroon, is nicknamed the Man in White. The owner of the St. Tropez restaurant in Bastos, in the political capital of La République du Cameroon. From a source, after arriving at a routine checkpoint, he presented his documents that were complete, yet the officers were not willing to let him go.
Well, moving on with more victims from the war, late Tanga Rudolph Angre was arrested several years back in a village called Teke in Meme County due to the raging armed conflict in Amazonia. Undaunted gathered that Tanga Rudolph Angre died after prison authorities ignored giving him medical attention in his sickbed. Tanga Rudolph Agwe is not the first and might not be the last. Many innocent victims of the armed conflict in Amazonia have died in similar circumstances, dragged to both La République du Cameroon and Amazonian prisons by the colonial occupier military without any fair trial, and some have died unnoticed or just got missing. Journalist Samuel Wazizi was detained in Boya, and while his case was still being followed up by his lawyers in Boya, mortuary attendant in a Yaoundé garrison found his lifeless body worrisome as no one was coming for it.
Also, armed men believed to be the ADF's very specialized in kidnappings, abductions, and ransom taking have released a man they kidnapped in Mile 16, Boya local government area in the war-torn southern zone. Ikiachek Jacob, the victim, sources said, was kidnapped in a bar at Mile 16, Boya on Wednesday, November 9th, 2022. Undaunted gathered that the ADF ransom seekers are said to have stormed the neighborhood, firing gunshot to disperse locals before carrying out the act.
Because of blood money, we see what a lot of Amazonians are doing. And then we brought also to you Munzu and Ayangwe, who failed to write their names on the sands of time because of the same blood money. Having been bought over by La République du Cameroon, they are now history and should allow the never again generation to go to their promised land Boya. Dr. Nsoh miscomprehends the law on an issue, furthermore conflates the widespread and systematic requirements for contextual elements for crime against humanity with context elements of genocide. He may not be aware of the jurisprudence of international courts and tribunals, many which occurred in cases in which I participated, says Charles Taku, that crimes against humanity and genocide may occur outside an armed conflict. This is from Charles Taku.
All right, and this is where we'll end their Undaunted Weekly Recap. And right after the break, we'll come up with fresh reports.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.